What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Thanks for clicking on another episode of Break the Silence. I am your host, Cyborg, and I'm here to tell you that the Los Angeles Lakers are not title contenders this season. Now, a lot of the NBA media will flip-flop back and forth so often that you really have no idea where they stand with this team or players on this roster. But I'm going to stick to my guns and say that I don't believe that the Lakers are real contenders in the NBA this year. We have some awesome teams, especially in the Western Conference. Have you seen the way that the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs have been playing over the last, really the whole season, but in particular since December? These two teams have been elite. The Los Angeles Lakers cannot compete with those two teams, therefore they're not real contenders in the Western Conference. And if you're not a real contender in your conference, you aren't a real threat to win the NBA Finals. I get so frustrated with the way that the media talks about the Lakers in particular because they go from one extreme to the next, seemingly from week to week. Before we get into it, make sure you take a second to subscribe to the channel. We just passed 1,300 subscribers. We're grinding NBA content, so if you love the NBA, make sure you take a second to subscribe. So, a few months back, the discussion became, did the Mavericks actually make the right decision in trading Luka Doncic and moving off of him? Was his defense such a liability that this team will never be able to win at a high level as Luka begins to age? You fast forward a few months later, they start to win a few games without LeBron on the court. And then the discussion all over the media becomes, is this team better without LeBron James? And are they not going to be able to compete until he's off the roster or able to accept a much smaller role? Fast forward again. This team goes on a 9-game winning streak. And I'm flipping on shows like First Things First, and ESPN. Kendrick Perkins a few weeks ago said that Luka Doncic wasn't on his first team All-NBA ballot. But now when you flip on shows this week, in particular today, I'm talking Monday, the shows that happened before they played the Pistons, shows were claiming that Luka Doncic is the MVP and that the Lakers are real contenders for the NBA championship. My whole frustration with this is if you believe that the Lakers were not contenders 2 months ago, how does a 9-game winning streak suddenly flip the script? They didn't beat the Thunder in that time, and they did not beat the Spurs in that time. Those are the two teams that they're competing against. You saw that the way that those two teams have played, they've hardly lost in months. So how do you jump back and forth in such an extreme way? I'm going to stay consistent on this. I don't think that a team that's so weak on the defensive end of the basketball court and is starting DeAndre Ayton as center is a real threat to win the NBA Finals. Let me read some statistics for you real quick in case you disagree. They're 11th in the NBA in points per game, 23rd in three-pointers made. They're 27th in rebounding, 20th in assists, 15th in turnovers, 25th in blocks, 17th in steals, 20th in defensive rating. If you want to go to the analytics, in net rating, they're 14th in the NBA, falling right behind the Atlanta Hawks. How is that team a threat to win the NBA Finals this season? It is okay to talk about NBA teams and not discuss each one of them as an NBA Finals contender or a bust. It feels like a lot of times we refuse to mention that there are a lot of teams in the middle. You cannot have 10 teams when you go into the playoffs as contenders, and that's okay. This year, it looks like it's probably going to be between the Thunder and the Spurs in the West. Maybe you have a wild card, a team like the Nuggets who have a generational Nikola Jokic in the prime of his career. They won the finals a couple years ago. I probably wouldn't put them in that discussion. But those two teams in particular, and then the Eastern Conference, we're kind of going to have to wait and see with teams like the Celtics, Tatum returning from injury, Pistons, you had Cade Cunningham go down. The Knicks, they've kind of been hot lately, but they've been a little inconsistent on the season. The Cavs looked like really good when they got James Harden back, but they haven't played quite as good as of late. So in the Eastern Conference, we don't really know. But you can't list a quarter of the league as NBA title contenders. So none of those statistics that I just read to you make you think that the Lakers can win the NBA championship. It is okay to say that Luka Doncic is going to win the scoring title and he's had an awesome season. He's probably first team All-NBA. In fact, I would have him on my first team All-NBA ballot. as of now. And it's okay to say that LeBron James is having an incredible season for a guy that's, 41 years old, 41 or 42, having a truly unbelievable season for a guy at that age. Austin Reeves has played awesome basketball. JJ Redick, I think, has done a great job getting these guys to buy in and play at a high level. And I'm not just saying all this because they lost to the Pistons tonight. As I'm recording this video will come out the next day. But they just lost to a Pistons team without Cade Cunningham. This team is not going to win 4 straight playoff rounds. They are way too inconsistent. They don't defend at a high level. And over this winning streak, they've actually had a defense that is ranked very high. That's not something that I believe is gonna stay consistent. Sometimes you just get lucky with the opponent you're playing. They have some cold nights, etc., etc. But this team is not going to win 4 straight rounds of playoff basketball if in round 1 they're playing the Rockets or the Nuggets or the Timberwolves if they're healthy, and then round 2 they're going to go play the Spurs on the road and then somehow going to go to Oklahoma City and win that series on the road. I don't buy it. So please, media, can we be consistent? 9 games should not change the way you view the entire season. Let's take it in its totality. Those statistics I read you, those are for the entire season. Yes, they've had a nice stretch. But do you believe that that's going to last over 4 rounds in the playoffs? I absolutely do not. If you disagree with me, feel free to say why. But if we are standing at the end of the season and the Lakers are holding the Larry O'Brien, I, for one, would be very shocked. I would not be mad at it. I'm not a Lakers hater. There's a lot of people in the media. Obviously, Charles Barkley, we saw say that he was praying that the Lakers would lose to the Nuggets the other night. That is not who I am. I have always enjoyed watching LeBron, Luka play basketball. Austin Reeves is awesome. That is not what this is. I'm not being a hater. I'm saying it how it is. There are a lot of teams in the NBA, and not all of them can be contenders. There are teams that are having very good seasons for what their expectations were, and that's okay. So, I appreciate y'all taking the time to watch. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you love NBA content. Cyborg out.